This is a lesson on Can I Borrow Something? Oglala Lakota County School District for teachers, parents, staff. Lakota Language Level 1, just your basic activity. The words aren't really that hard. Say from grades 3 to high school and even some college can do this as an activity. Okay, the setup. You're going to explain to your students or to your children that they are preparing a meal. They're going to be making something. And that could be either fried bread or soup or anything like that. And they're going to be told that they realize they don't have everything they need. Maybe they're missing something. So, to solve this problem, they're going to be asking a neighbor, a family member, or a friend. They're going to go to their house and ask to borrow the ingredient that they're missing. So, if you want to do it in a way that you don't explain this and you just have them do the activity and then ask them later, what do you think you were doing? Then that's also an alternative. Okay, the next step is going to be you're going to have to kind of cover again some of these ingredients that you're going to be using. So it can be milk, salt, eggs, sugar, whatever it is. And you're going to, it would be better if you used actual props that you can hand out to the kids. But if you want to, you can make index cards. Maybe some of those cards could just have the picture of it, so that way they're thinking of the word. Or if you want to work on the spelling or use writing, then to help kind of reinforce that, then you can just have index cards with the Lakota words written on them. But you're going to hand those out to each of the kids so they'll get one thing. And that is going to be the ingredient that they're missing, that they're going to ask to borrow. Okay, next you're going to teach the phrase that each student or child is going to be using. So, for example, maybe they're going to ask to borrow sugar. So you can teach that phrase, hold up the sugar, or have all the students that have a card that has a picture of the sugar or the word chahampi on it. You're going to hold that up and you're going to say chahampi hunch owalote owakihihe. Chahampi hunch owalote owakihihe. And then have them repeat that several times. Hold your next object up. Miniskuya hunch owalote owakihihe. Witka hunch owalote owakihihe. Asampi wigli hunch owalote owakihihe. Okay, so you want to get them to learn that phrase, hunch owalote owakihihe. And then they're just naming the item first. Okay, so step 1 in the activity. So you're going to make sure each student has the card because that's the item that they're missing. And behind you on your desk or on a table, you're going to have all those different ingredients that matches those cards. So now you're going to have the student, you're going to call on a student or a child, they're going to walk up to you. They're going to pretend to knock on your door. And when you open the door, they're going to ask for the item that they have. So if this student wants to borrow some sugar, they're going to say, chahampi hunch owalote awakihihe. Then the teacher is just going to hand them the item and then tell them to go sit back down. Kyotakayo. Kyotakayo for the male teacher, kyotakaye for the female teacher. Okay, so you're not replying to them at this point. You're just having them come up and ask for the item. Okay, so that's the first part of it. They're going to come up one at a time, pretend to knock on the door. They will say the phrase using their card. Can I borrow whatever their card says? Then you're going to return to their seats. Have them return to their seats. So once they are comfortable with that first part of it and they know how to say it, then you're going to move on to the next step. Okay, so the next step, when they come up, they pretend to knock on the door, and then you open the door. The student is going to say that phrase, whatever their card is. Chahampi honch awalo te awakihihe. So now you're going to reply. You're going to say, Chahampi honch oyalota oyakihi. And then you're going to hand them the prop, whatever you have on your table that matches what they asked for. So they're going to come up one at a time and do that. Pretend to knock on the door. You're going to open it. They're going to ask. Maybe they ask for some butter. Asampi wigli honch owalo te awakihe. You're going to say, Asampi wigli honch oyalota oyakihi. Then you will hand them that item, and then they're going to return to their seat. Okay, so that is the activity. You're going to call on that student or that child. They're going to look at their card. They're going to come up. Chahampi honch awalote awakihihe. Can I borrow some sugar? Chahampi honch oyalota oyakihi. Then you can have them respond with pilamayaye. For the females, pilamayayelo. For the males, just meaning thank you. Then they're going to walk back to their desk. Okay, call on another student. They come up. They pretend to knock on your door. So this one is asking, Miniskuya honch owalo te awakihihe. You're going to say, Miniskuya honch oyalo ta oyakihi. Then they will return to their seat. This student comes up, knocks on the door. Witka honch owalo te owakihihe. Witka honch oyalo ta oyakihi. Hand them the eggs. They're going to say pilamayaye naish pilamailo. Then they will hand the prop back to you, and then they will return to their seat. Okay, so once they understand how to do that with the parent or the teacher, then tell them to practice with each other. So you can give them that command in Lakota. You can say, Wana ikichi onchapo. Ask each other. That's the male teacher saying that to them. Wana ikichi onchape. For the female teacher. Or you can say, Num num shkampo. Work in pairs. That's the male teacher or the male parent. Num num shkampe. Work in pairs. That's the female teacher or the female parent. Okay, for the older kids, if you want to explain those verbs that you were using and have them journal it, put them in their journal, those phrases, then you can do that with them. Maybe the younger kids, they don't really need to know. They just need to learn the phrases. So you can break it down and you can say owalote. Owalote is I borrow. Oyalota, you borrow. That's the first verb that we were using. Owakihi, I can. Oyakihi, you can. And in this case, we're just using hunch, some. Okay, if you want to add to this, once they have that down, you can have a large box. You can put several of those items in a box. And every other round, you're going to secretly remove one object out of that box. Maybe you can put it in a different box or something. And don't let the students see what's missing. So the students are still using their cards. So what's going to happen is when they come up to ask to borrow one of those items, if it was the one that was removed, you're going to respond with a negative answer. Okay, so the example of using something negative. So let's say that you took the sugar out of the box. So you're going to call on a student. They're going to come up. If they have the picture of the chahampi or the word chahampi, that's what they're going to be asking. They're going to pretend to knock on the door. They're going to say, chahampi hunch owalo te awakihihe. Can I borrow some sugar? So now, because you know that there's no sugar in there, you're going to say, hia chahampi mawaniche. Hia chahampi mawaniche. No. Hia is no, chahampi, sugar mawaniche. I don't have any. Hia chahampi mawaniche. Or you could say, hia chahampi tagane bluhashne. Hia chahampi tagane bluhashne. Hia no chahampi sugar tagane. None at all. Bluha, I have. Shne makes it negative. I don't have any. Bluhashne, I don't have any. Hia chahampi tagane bluhashne. Na ish. Hia chahampi mawaniche. So those are two ways to reply with the negative. Okay, for the last maybe 5 minutes or something, for the older kids, you can break all those down and explain to them and then have them write those in their journals.